Tyler picked up the donuts on his way.
Thank you.
So feel free to do whatever you want during the meeting. Except for that. Okay.
Okay, well, great. Well, welcome everybody. I think we need to go through an introductions, or are we okay with everybody?
I think our board's okay, right?
Yeah.
It would be good for our presenters.
Okay.
That's good. Okay.
All right. And here's Rob. He's here now. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and start. Jim Michaelis.
Gary Morley. I'm Reed Price.
Chris Tschirki, Public Works Director.
Brent Tobler.
Mike Whimpey.
Joe Gordon.
Rob Moore.
Cort, Lambson, Central Utah Water.
Elison with Central Utah Water.
Rick Sabey, Stormwater.
My name's Tyler Peay. I'm another assistant public works director.
Quinn Fenton, Water Division.
Cody Steggell, GIS Division.
Bill Peterson, Street Division. Ryan Johnson, Water Reclamation.
Thayne Carter, Fleet Manager.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes, the corrected minutes from last time?
Move.
Second? In favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it passes. So, I guess, Chris, we've got this all set up for you then, right? Welcome to our meeting today.
I'll introduce Chris. So Chris works for the Central Utah Water Conservancy District, and
You can have a chair.
he has been working for the past,
How long have we been working on this, Mike? 2018? Talking about this project?
yes,
Is it okay if I sit?
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
18 years or months?
2018.
Since 2018. Okay.
I'll explain the history.
Yeah, okay. But we've invited him to present on the progress and the planning that's gone into a very significant pipeline project that's happening in our city. It's not the city's, it's Central Utah's, but we thought it would be interesting to help you guys understand what's going on up there when it happens. And if anybody talks to you about it, you'll be able to explain it, and also to see how important it is to plan for the future and to address issues as they come up. So, Chris, we'll turn the time over to you.
Did I mention something right before? So Chris is going to talk about the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1. 60% of our drinking water comes through that pipe. And so for us, this is super critical that this pipe is resilient and that it is located in an appropriate location. And he's going to explain some of the challenges and some of the problems that have been occurring recently. But for us, this is a very important issue. It's not our pipe, but we help to pay for it, and certainly most of our water comes through that. That's conveyed to the plant that's treated for drinking water. So, yes.
Okay, it's great to be here. I'm a civil engineer. Worked with the district for about 13 years now. Coincidentally, it's our 60th birthday this year. I know that's not even, you're not even half that old, are you?
No, I'm knocking on that. I turned 51 today, so.
Wow, young.
Yeah.
So,
Happy birthday.
Thanks, Robert.
talk a little bit about the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 project.
Advance with
Just that, okay. But before I do, I want to mention just a little bit about the district and why why Central Utah Water was formed back in 1964. The federal government, of course, started the Central Utah project, which you've all heard about, I'm sure, through time. Central Utah project was divided into 6 units. 5 of them are shown up there. Basically, it's to utilize Utah's portion of the Colorado River. Utah's allocated 23% of the yield of the upper Colorado River, which equates to about 1.7 million acre feet. You hear a lot about the Colorado River lately. Okay, the Bonneville unit, which is that green blob on the left, is largely, well, it's operated and maintained by Central Utah Water Conservancy District. And again, this is a 60-year-old project, and we're still constructing the Bonneville unit. It's close to being done. Back in 1982, one of President Herbert Walker, George W. Bush, he authorized what's called the Central Utah Project Completion Act, or CUPCA, which took the responsibility away from the Bureau of Reclamation to complete the Central Utah project, or the Bonneville unit, and gave it to the district. And so we have a unique role, and one of the only agencies actually in the nation that has federal authority for construction and for other purposes. We still have oversight from the federal government. We were tasked with completing the Central Utah project, which is divided into 6 systems. Some out in the Uinta Basin. The ones on this side that we're interested in are called the municipal and industrial system, which is including the Alpine Aqueduct. So here's a picture of the Bonneville unit. There's a 37-mile collection system that starts at Upper Stillwater, which is on the southwestern slopes of the Uinta Mountains. Brings water over into Strawberry Reservoir. From Strawberry Reservoir, we can take the water over the divide into Utah County and into Wasatch County. We can also take water and it goes down into the Bonneville or into the Uinta Basin. Can I get my water?
Yep. When you say over the divide, you mean through the divide, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, there's two, I'm sorry, yeah. I guess we could pump it, but we don't. There are 2 tunnels, a cider tunnel. They're shown here. A cider tunnel, and then this is the old Strawberry tunnel completed in 1904 as part of the Strawberry Valley project. Yeah, it goes, they're 7 and 9 miles long tunnels. So you'll notice that there's a little bit of an open space here. We just finished this piece of the pipeline. We're building a piece right down here. As soon as that's done, the major construction on the Central Utah project will be done. It's taken 60 years. So the M&I system, municipal industrial system, includes a number of features that we're all interested in. Jordanelle Reservoir was constructed. It's a 314,000 acre-foot reservoir. To put that in perspective, it's more than twice the size of Deer Creek. Deer Creek was built as part of the Provo River project. Now the Alpine Aqueduct, which starts at the mouth of Provo Canyon. We have a 10 million gallon reservoir up there. Alpine Aqueduct begins there, goes through a tunnel around, and then we can deliver water through the aqueduct up into Alpine and then North Utah County. There are diversions all up along the reach that deliver water to the different cities up and through there. There's also some, and this map's not quite accurate, there's this Alpine Aqueduct Reach 2, which is a finished water, which brings water into Orem. There's also one that goes into Provo.
Hey Chris, go back one slide. A lot of you probably remember the old green snake pipeline that went down Provo Canyon, and so this Alpine Aqueduct is a continuation of that pipeline. So that pipeline was buried. Cort was the project manager that oversaw the reconstruction of that pipeline in 2000?
2001 to 2004.
2001 to 2004. So that pipeline that was precariously up there on the hillside with landslides was then buried and put underground, still in pretty much the same alignment. But that Olmsted pipeline is what feeds the Alpine Aqueduct system.
Thanks, Mike. So this is just a Google map showing the Alpine Aqueduct. It's that blue line through there. The yellow is the Provo River Aqueduct, which is operated by Provo River water users.
It's the old Murdoch.
It's the old Murdoch Canal that was piped 10 years ago through the city. The purple line up there is the Salt Lake Aqueduct. Just a note, the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1, which is again the blue line, goes from our 10 million gallon Homestead Reservoir over to the Donne Christiansen treatment plant up on the hill here, where I think somebody said 60%, Chris said 60% of your water comes from treated water, finished water.
And through that pipe.
Through this pipe. This pipe also connects to the Jordan Aqueduct, which takes water all the way into Salt Lake Valley. It goes all the way to about the airport. So the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 was constructed in 1979 and 1980 by the Bureau of Reclamation. It's about 1.1 miles in length. It's 90-inch welded steel pipe, and it flows about 450 cubic feet per second. It includes an 1,800-foot long tunnel section through the hill there, and then there's the 400-foot above ground section. It's actually 91 inches in diameter. This is the piece you can see if you're coming on University Avenue, heading north towards Mount Timpanogos. You can see the pipe up there.
That was like hole number 11. You'd hit the golf ball over that. At Cascade.
Okay.
Is that right?
It's been a long time
So.
since.
I remember which hole it was.
Yeah.
We just tried to hit those takes. Those your takes? I'm sorry. The reason Alpine Aqueduct is so important, especially Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1, is it supplies water to 1.6 million people into 3 different water treatment plants. One of them is ours, the Donne Christiansen plant up on the hill, but then there's others in Salt Lake Valley that it delivers water to. We took the 2020 census data, overlaid it, and it's all the shaded area that Alpine Aqueduct serves. American Lifelines Alliance has a rating of just how important your pipelines are, and our Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 is a class 3, which is critical, and we use that as this is a standard in our design. We'll talk a little bit about that. As we started this, we started rating some of the other aqueducts that are up on the hill there. We talked about the Provo River Aqueduct, which is PRA, Salt Lake Aqueduct. Ours, the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1, was by far the most critical as far as non-seismic failure, which is landslide, seismic failure, and then the reliability ranking. So these next slides, I just want to kind of go over what is happening along 800 North at the mouth of Provo Canyon. You may not realize when you're driving, maybe you're going, I like to ski. And our offices are right there. A lot of pipelines and things in the road up there. I have a friend at UDOT. We were building one of our pipelines. He's like, why don't you guys just close 800 North down and do all your work instead of closing it down every other year? But so Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1's that orange line, and then the purple line that goes up, and then Mike talked about the Homestead Flow Line, which was the old green, we call it the green snake. I grew up in Orem, and I remember that pipe up there. So Alpine Aqueduct connects to the Jordan Aqueduct, which flows about 240 CFS, and that's the one that goes all the way into Salt Lake County and is actually operated and maintained by Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. It was an aqueduct. It's a sister aqueduct to Alpine Aqueduct, but it starts at the treatment plant, and it has a connection to Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1, which is that orange line. It's built in the same corridor as is our aqueduct out from the treatment plant northward. The Provo River aqueduct's the brown line there, and it was recently, everybody knows, was piped 10 years ago, back in 2011 and 12. It's a large diameter. It's 120-inch diameter pipe right through here. It flows 620 CFS. It's operated by Provo River Water Users Association. It does not operate in the winter. It's just a summertime facility, and it has no connection to the Don A. Christiansen treatment plant. Salt Lake Aqueduct is that purple line, and that was built as part of the Provo River project, which is a federal project. Begins at the base of Deer Creek Dam. It's a 69-inch pipe, and it flows about 170 CFS, and it's actually owned by Metropolitan Water District of Salt Lake and Sandy. The two pink lines that just popped up, those are Alpine Aqueduct Reach 2A and 2B, where this city gets a lot of its water and also goes into Provo. So those are finished water lines. We have what we call the 800 North Aqueduct, which comes off the treatment plant. It's part of our central water project that Mike and Cort and others at the district. It's a non-federal project. We have a bunch of wells down here in Vineyard. Takes water out to Lehigh, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, and also Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District takes water from there. The green lines are 60-inch, we call it the Spanish Fork Provo Reservoir Canal Pipeline. It flows 120 CFS, and it has a connection all the way from Strawberry. This pipeline will take water from Strawberry will bypass the power plant at the mouth of the canyon, and it'll deliver water all the way into Salt Lake. Jordan Valley and Metropolitan have 22,000 acre feet that they've purchased from us, which we got from the federal government, and this is how we'll deliver their water.
And that's 100% gravity fed?
It's 100% gravity fed. We can deliver up that blue line, that's the Homestead flow line reach A, up to the tank and then out. Matter of fact, we have to break the head.
Yeah.
So,
Before you leave this slide, is there another one on here you have, or is that the last one? Oh, Alpha Springs, okay.
Alpha Springs is yours,
Yes.
which through an exchange that I don't understand is used at the water treatment plant. It's a 36-inch pipe, I believe.
It's not quite that. It's 26 HDPE at the top.
Oh, that's fine.
Alta Springs.
Alpha Springs diameter. It's a 26-inch HDPE. Yeah.
But you
And
can see
then
it,
it's a
right?
steel 16-inch.
14.
Is it a 14?
Yep.
In the
14
siphon?
pieces of 14 and 16.
Okay.
This is the last slide. Did you have a...
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. So these lines don't, these are the transmission lines, I would say, mostly of raw water, some of finished water. And then by the time you turn on your tap, we'll connect to these lines at key locations with our distribution lines. Those distribution lines will deliver the water to your individual homes. So this is taking it from, not many people have this understanding or perspective unless you're involved with these projects or work for Central Utah Water. But this water that we drink can go all the way to Strawberry, Deer Creek, Jordanelle, and then we have other sources, of course, in our city, like the Alta Spring that's shown on here, and we're in the process of completing our 10th well in the city. So we have a variety and a diverse set of water resources. But these, what you see here, deliver water to the tune of about 60% of what we consume, which is about 18,000 acre feet of water a year. You need about just a little less. Every one of us in our homes use a little bit less than 1 acre foot of water a year, to put things into perspective. Yeah.
So the pressure at your house, is that just gravity?
Yeah. Well, unless you're doing it from the well. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, most of it is, but we have 10 wells that pump into it as well.
Pump into it.
Yeah.
The new tank that we're constructing has a booster pump station next to it. It'll pump out of that, out of the tank and into the system. So, but yeah, the cheap way to move water around is with gravity. But we can't do that throughout the system.
We, as engineers, gravity's our friend, and it's also can be an issue with, you get too much gravity, things can cavitate and cause problems, but this green line, it does have a connection. It really is connected to Strawberry Reservoir. There's a 37-mile aqueduct that I pointed out that brings water all the way from the Uintas to Strawberry, Strawberry down, Diamond Fork Canyon, Spanish Fork Canyon, and then along the hills to here.
Yeah, I didn't realize we got water from Strawberry.
Well, it's relatively recent.
Yeah.
When was that line completed? Is it about 8 years ago?
2014 or so.
10 years ago?
15, yeah.
So where does the Colorado River part of this? Is the Colorado River what feeds some of Strawberry, or?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Thank you for bringing that up. The Colorado River is really important. That's why the district is, we really watch what's going on the Colorado River. First of all, the Provo River Project, which is Deer Creek and the Provo River Aqueduct, gets some of its water from the Colorado River. There's a tunnel, it's called the Duchesne Tunnel, diverts water off the North Fork of the Duchesne River, even up the Mirror Lake Highway, I think is what it is. There's a tunnel that comes out there. So they're interested in it. They get some of their water that way. We get, I think we divert 101,000 acre feet a year off of Strawberry Reservoir from the Colorado River.
So it's the headwaters of the Colorado River, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Not
the
actually.
drainages that feed down to the Uinta River, the Green River, the Duchesne River, that then flows down and becomes part of the Colorado River. So these
Okay.
diversions are
Yeah,
taking
it's
out
high
of
up
water
in the
that
system.
normally would go eventually to the
So you're not
Colorado
actually
River.
taking it out of the Colorado River. It's
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you?
I apologize. Yeah,
Colorado River.
That's an important, yeah.
It's the
Observation.
feeder.
But it's all part of the water supply of the
It's all-
Colorado River. It's considered to be Colorado River.
Comes from the Colorado River Basin over into the Bonneville Basin. So that's one of our main focuses. So I refer to this as the spaghetti bowl.
Yeah.
When you guys drive by in 800 North,
There's a lot going
a lot
on.
going on, and it's not just important for Orem, it's important for Provo. Do we like Provo here?
Yeah.
Okay. But North Utah County, I live in Lehigh and in Salt Lake. So Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1, since it was built, and so I've been in the district 13 years. Cort will tell some stories about some of the failures. When we talk about failures, it's a break or something's happened where we have to take the aqueduct offline, assess what's happened, go in and fix it. Some failures that have happened through the 80s, this 2000 failure, was that the one that was day after Thanksgiving, Cort? That's when they always happen on a weekend or like
On a
On a
holiday.
holiday.
You guys know. You guys
Yeah.
know that. So, the straw that broke the camel's back, in a way, is that one that says 2017 slide, and I'll talk just a bit about that.
When you say failure, what do you mean by failure?
Well, yeah, it doesn't. It's not like this big dynamic explode. It's a landslide or something that came on top of the pipe that we're
So
worried about.
that piece of pipe you can see there, the above ground pipe section, that was replaced in 2001. Prior to that, the pipe was buried through there, and that whole area that you're looking at is an active landslide zone, and the landslide had moved enough that it caused some of the welds to split, not catastrophically, but enough to cause a leak, and several of those had occurred and that had to be repaired. So because we knew that was active landslide, we unburied it, put the pipe on Teflon pads, so as the landslide moved, it would slide underneath the pipe and not take the pipe with it. And so that's what you're seeing there. And so we tried to address it. So all those failures, other than the 2017, were prior to us bringing the pipe above ground there.
Note the golf course there. So
It's number 12 green.
I'm glad you know that. Just some pictures of some of the lands. I think this is the
That's
2000.
Thanksgiving.
And
2000.
see the people up on there. You can just see how big that is. There's Cort standing on a landslide. You can see the scarp. The one on the right, again, is golf course area.
Are you pretty close to some fault lines right there?
We'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Just a sec. Yeah. Yes. 2017 landslide happened just to the south and east of the treatment plant. And what happened is our O&M guys went out April 1st, actually, 2017. If you remember, it was a pretty good water year. Water. They started to notice these, I don't know, kind of ridges or ripples
in the
Yeah.
fairway.
in the fairway. The yellow line there's the aqueduct, the Alpine Aqueduct, Reach 1. I like this picture because you see this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's the landslide. But if you look, there's the scarp, clear up there. And it's just coming on the pipe. And what was happening is it was squishing the pipe and taking it out around it. It kind of worried us. Well, it worried us a lot. Casey Shaw took the lead, and what we did was load the tow. We were building the Homestead Power Plant. I don't know if you guys have been over there, but we had a whole bunch of fill material, so we loaded it against the toe of that to stop the landslide. We also modeled what would happen if there was a catastrophic failure. 450 CFS. It's not like you can just shut the valve off, in a minute. It takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour to shut it off. So we want to know what would happen if this thing just broke. And I counted up the homes, and I can't remember, it was close to a couple hundred. Multiple schools and businesses would have at least a foot of water. So we're concerned about it. So back in 2018, we started what we call the Alpine Aqueduct Risk and Resiliency Project. And we hired a consultant. He came out and started looking at what's going on with why do we have these issues. And they came back and they said, well, you've got a couple things going on. You have a huge, they call it a paleo landslide. That red line kind of outlines it. The Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 is the blue line there. They said, you've got landslides, but you got a bigger problem. The hillside up there is not stable. And then the dashed lines over there is you have the Wasatch Fault as well. So you've got smaller landslides happening within the bigger landslides. So off to the right there, this piece right here is what Cort was talking about. The landslide was taking the pipe off the hill, so we put it above, but then we had all these other ones, little landslides. But the bigger issue was from here to there is an old historic landslide. Just an oblique view, looking up the canyon. The shaded areas, the historic landslide, the dashed lines that are red show the different Wasatch Fault displays that come down through our aqueducts. The aqueduct is in the blue line.
It appears they're going right underneath homes.
Yes. Going right underneath homes. And, well, our offices are right here,
It ends there.
and it, well,
It ends there.
As far as you know.
We chose very carefully.
As far as, yeah.
Looks like you chose carefully for the treatment plant too.
Provo Canyon is kind of a break point between the southern reach of the Wasatch Fall and the central reach. And they come together at kind of an oblique angle. And so the southern reach of the Wasatch Fall actually steps to the east into Provo Canyon, and well, it used to be the old Squaw Peak. Yeah, I can't pronounce the new name, Kavit or whatever Squaw Peak's new name is, but that step that formed Squaw Peak is where the fault runs down through. So the fault steps to the east there, and it all kind of converges in Provo Canyon.
as part of our study, we wanted to look at alignments or how to fix the problem. Came up with 15 different ones. We looked at tunneling. We looked at going over this landslide. We looked at going around the landslide. And we'll talk about what we ended up with, and this is what we ended up with, that yellow line. We wanted to go around the landslide. That solves that issue, but it does not. We still have to cross the faults. Regardless of what we do, we have a fault issue. If you remember, back on a previous slide, it talked about the American Lifelines Alliance. They said, for this type of pipeline, you need to design for a 975-year event on the Wasatch Fault. So that would come into play. So we did NEPA. We finished it about a year and a half ago. We reached out to the people all through that in the neighborhood, not just the neighborhood, but we went as far over as like to 800, and we didn't get a lot of turnout, a lot of interest with some. Finished it November of 2022. So there's our alignment, and this, what I wanted to show is that, yeah, we can get out and around the landslide, but we can't. We still cross two splays of the Wasatch Fault. So this is a picture of an earthquake in 1983, October 18th, I believe. Earthquake in Idaho, one of the largest, I think the largest one. This is what we're trying to avoid. You can see the slip that's happened there. These two guys are trying to figure out how they're going to get water now that their ditch is 12 feet. And it's not just the vertical, but it looks like it's shifted depending on the angle here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're concerned with. It's a very simple graph here. It just shows, okay, how are we going to mitigate that? So part of what we did was also identified the uncertainty zones, we'll call them, with the Wasatch Fault through our project. A couple of years ago, this was in the news. Aging aqueducts, and the big one. They came out and took a couple of pictures of the Alpine Aqueduct Reach 1 and quoted, I think, Dave Pitcher, for many of you know them. And so last spring, a year ago from now, we wanted to know a little bit more about the fault zones. So we dug 2 trenches over there. This is 1560 East, so the Mama Choose Road. That's what we refer to. I'm a frequent flyer there. The dashed line is our alignment. We dug 2 trenches, and this is a drone view looking south of the trenches. And can anybody point out the Wasatch Fault there?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody come out? Sam Kelly came out.
Yeah.
And some of your firemen and a few others.
And we had a council member too, I think Lene came out and saw.
So our consultant out of San Francisco, they had been working on a project in Costa Rica. They're all over the world, and they're like, this is the best definition of a fault that we have seen in a very long time, if ever. So what's happening is that you can see that. And when I was out there, these guys from San Francisco, LCI, Let Us Consultant Incorporated, it's like, it's dipping this way. You see that building with the flagpole over there? I said, yeah, that's our offices. He goes, that's where it's headed. So, he didn't know that our offices were over there. So, some more pictures of the fault. This is looking north. You're looking at the primary fault, and some of the deposits that happen after. Just another picture of it. What they do is they'll put these little pins up everywhere to see the different deposits. And what we're trying to do is figure out for a 1,000-year event how much this is going to slip. Okay, if the earthquake happened there today, how far down and out is it going to go? So they'll take a piece of PVC, they'll pound it into the wall, they'll cut it, and then carbon date it, and they can tell, oh, this one's got the same time as this one over here. It's slipping about 12, almost 13 feet. There's a picture of the trench to the south. You can see the two different types of soils there and the fault. They come up with these kind of cool maps. If you want to spend a lot of time reading that, you can. I can send this to you if you're interested. But so that was the eastern strand. That's on property that it's off 1560 east. It's owned by Todd Peterson. Mm-hmm. I think there's some building lots there that you're not able to build. He's not able to build on homes or whatever. But then we also did some work on the central strand, which is down 1060 north. We wanted to know a little bit more, so we did some studying. We did some CPT, penetration testing, which drive a cone down into the ground, and then it measures resistance and some of the other properties, so that we can narrow down this fault zone. And this is important. So before we had, this is the central strand, before we had about 525 feet, we were able to, through our testing, narrow it down to 185 feet. And that's important because the type of pipe that we're talking about going across the fault is specialized. It's called an earthquake or hazard resilient ductile iron pipe, and it's 11,000 plus a foot, $11,000 a foot for this pipe. So we spent about $100,000 to do this testing and saving over $1 million. So this is some pictures of the hazard-resistant ductile iron pipe. This is a project that happened in Southern California 2 years ago. Metropolitan Water District of Southern Cal. I don't know the name of it. We met with these people. What's that? Is that it?
California.
This is a 104-inch pipe. It's the largest they made, and it's made by Kubota. Same people that make tractors, but they make pipe. It's in Japan. You can see that these joints. These joints they'll expand out and rotate. So if the ground flips out from underneath it, and I don't think I have a picture of it. They studied this and showed this in tests that this pipe will survive an earthquake. It'll pop out and fall down. It's kind of cool. Just some more pictures of them with their installation. This is what we plan on doing when we cross our two fault zones.
Where will this be manufactured?
Japan. And then come across on a boat, I guess. It's about a 9-month lead time on this pipe.
That sounds pretty good. 9 months.
Some months a year, but yeah, it's
some of our electrical components are.
Yeah, electric. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's some more construction pictures.
So that pipe comes in 7-foot long joints, and so it's kind of think of it like a centipede. that it's jointed, and as the fault slips, it's going each joint is just going to slip a little bit, and then that will give us eventually the 12 feet of displacement that we're looking for.
How many feet of that pipe are you installing? Like
What is it?
600 or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all total about 600.
700. It is. It's $7 million of the project. It's 10% of the
600
project.
feet of pipe.
Outside of the fault zones, the pipe will be welded steel pipe.
Wow. We don't have any of that, do we, Quinn?
You want some? You want some?
No. What's the price?
$11,100.
No.
Last I heard was a foot. We did a value engineering exercise back in January. We looked at the pipe, the alignment, and came up with some recommendations. So where we're at today is we're at a 60% design. We had our review meeting on Friday with the consultant and the group. We are meeting tomorrow with Taggart and others from Orem City to go over the city's comments, and we'll be involved with the city quite a bit on this project. This is just a map of, we're just showing the alignment. I probably failed to mention that it's a 108-inch diameter pipe, so we're going from 90-inch to 108-inch, except through those default zones will be 104-inch. That's the largest they make in that specialized pipe. We had to upsize the pipe because we're making it longer, and we have to overcome
More head.
friction.
Is it gonna be above ground in those areas?
It's completely buried.
It's all buried,
It's
okay.
all buried pipeline. It'll be shallow in those areas. You don't want a lot of weight. If the earthquake goes off, you don't want a whole bunch of weight on top of that pipe as it sticks out of the ground.
Chris, are you going to talk about right-of-way and some of the impacts to property owners and residents? a
Yeah,
little
let's
bit?
go back to this slide. So you can see here that we really are dealing with a couple of property owners. The big one is Todd Peterson. We've been working with him for about a year and a half, almost it'll be 2 years in August, trying to coordinate with him on, the reason this is hatched up here is because that's where the existing pipeline is. So we'll abandon that, we'll remove the above ground portion, and then release, what the federal government has agreed to release the easement. But we need new easement down below through I call it the former golf course area. And so we're still working with him. It's been very interesting. He I don't know if you guys have met him. He has a lot of money, and he actually owns this piece over here on the right too. It's all yellow. He's been very nice, to be honest with you. The big concern that we have spent a lot of time on, and we're continuing to spend a lot of time, is the impacts to the residents. Because of the diameter of this pipe, this will be an interest for Orem. We've got to relocate the sewer and some water lines and upsize some storm drain. Because of that, 1060 North will have to be closed for a portion of this project as we go through there. So trying to figure out how to get people into and out of their houses, because their driveways will be closed. We plan on having a meeting with them about mid-June. I'm meeting with the city council, I think it's 2 weeks from today, the 28th. It's been a while since we met with Orem City Council and the mayor.
So you have two residents on that road I know of, Ryan Smith
Yeah,
and then Coach Pope, but he's moving.
I've got a slide on that.
You guys drove him. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we didn't know if Kevin Young was going to buy that.
Oh.
That was the joke.
Oh.
After Coach Pope left, everybody said, he's leaving because of this project. Well,
You got a better job offer.
he got more money. My
A little
guess.
bit. A little bit.
One aspect of the project is a new tunnel. It's about 970 feet that'll come off the hill. The existing tunnel existing Alpine tunnel is here to the above ground section. We'll just basically 90-degree off of that new tunnel with the curve in it. Put the pipe in there.
You'll bore that?
They're talking about, I don't think a bore machine can't make that bend,
Yeah,
so it's
that's
gonna be a cut, blast, and excavate out.
Drill and blast.
Drill and blast, which is a little concerning because of the landslide.
Yeah.
Some other things. But we didn't really know how to get off of that. It's not that we didn't know. Another option was to pin the pipe against the hillside. It's super steep up there.
Mm-hmm.
And that our landslide is right at the toe of this, right there. It's such a bright. You can just go out there and see it. We got to stay off of that. So, Orem City, we have a meter vault where we'll involve all of you because this is going to be the turnout here for the golf course for Todd Peterson. And that's by your tanks over there, kind of by the cemetery. It's just a picture of that, and then just a schedule. We're at the 60%. We're hoping that we can secure the right of way and award construction later this fall. August is the goal.
On Todd Peterson's property, you're looking at obtaining easements then.
Yes, correct. We won't. Yeah. And this was my. We call it the basketball corridor because we had Ryan Smith just right there. And Coach Pope is down there as well, and then Todd with Vivid, and it's like, who else could we impact? What your former mayor, when we presented this, I think Mike did the presentation. He said, "You guys couldn't have picked a worse neighborhood to go through."
Brunt? Or
Yeah.
Mm.
Or he didn't say worse. He just said
More
something like
challenging.
Challenging, I
Yeah.
think is what he said. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I feel like the corridor picked us. This was about it. We looked at 15 different alternatives, including going clear down to 800 North. The problem with 800 North, we've got all the other pipelines in there, and the Provo River Aqueduct's it's a concrete pipe that's gasketed, so in an earthquake it's just going to fall apart. And we didn't want ours near that one. Anyway.
Some of our public meetings, some of the neighbors are concerned about this pipeline and about the risk of damage to their homes if there's a failure, and we tried to keep pointing out that you're currently at a much greater risk living below this pipeline than with the new constructed pipeline.
Yeah.
And so the risk is much less. There will certainly be large impacts to them during construction, but the future risk is much reduced by doing this project than just letting time slip by and not doing anything.
I'm remembering, I don't remember, I'm thinking around 2000 where the city CERT team got put on standby because there was a break in this pipe, a leak of some sort, and they said, hey, you guys may need to be activated to evacuate. The way they described it to us is if that pipe really breaks and completely fails, we'll have a river starting and going all the way down through the city. Well, much like that map.
Yeah.
And
I don't like to show that map because, well, I like to show it in the spirit of, hey, this is what we're trying to solve.
You're trying to prevent that from
But
occurring.
yeah, I mean,
In other words, do I need to get flood insurance?
I had that question. Do you live up there? Or-
Well, I'm 800 North and Main Street.
Okay.
I live just far enough north. Maybe I'm safe.
I don't want to be a doomsdayer. I'm not a doomsdayer. Everybody remembers I call it the COVID quake.
Yeah.
Kearns,
Yeah.
2020 maybe? 5.7. If that happened here, yeah, we could have issues. We're designing for the 6.9 magnitude. One thing I didn't mention with our landslide is that in an earthquake event and under certain conditions, it's going to move at least 10 feet. It's moving now. We have inclinometers up there that measure how much that mass is moving, and it's moving just a little bit. We're monitoring it, but if that thing were like a good water year like last year or even this year, which would lubricate the bedding plane, and there was an earthquake on top of that, it could be a double whammy. The landslide moving, because nothing's going to hold, 10 feet, that pipe is just going to be obliterated. So,
Chris, how do some of the other pipelines, I remember just from some of your earlier slides, there was a Salt Lake Aqueduct that was up there that looked like it was maybe within this landslide zone.
Yeah, we met
Maybe talk about those other ones a little bit.
They have a lot of the same issues. They feel like they're in better.
They're up higher?
They're up higher and they think they're underneath the landslide, but they do cross the fault, obviously. They're 69 inch, they're 170 CFS that goes through it. And the Provo River Aqueduct, there's actually 2 pipes that come out of the canyon, the Provo River Aqueduct. The newer pipe, which I don't know if you guys remember, it was built 2010, 2011, is welded steel pipe, and it's fine. But the old Provo River Aqueduct, which was the Murdoch Canal, is this gasketed joint pipe, concrete, and it comes up the hill there by Will's Pit Stop or Mama Choose and all that. And we think that in an event that piece will pull apart and could wash out the whole roadway, and that is one reason why we don't want our pipe in 800 North.
So why can't you just tunnel underneath the landslide?
Okay, we looked at tunneling, and we would have to drill 150-foot shafts on either side. So it'd be a big belly. To get in to inspect that and to maintain it is...
And nearly impossible to, you might avoid the landslide, but in an earthquake, nearly impossible to repair.
We would be able to repair it, and you still have the fault crossing. It's a good point.
You probably didn't have any volunteers to go down and inspect it then either.
Well,
It'd probably be remote inspection, I would assume.
Just have the new guy do it.
Yeah, but that's the new guy.
That was one of the concerns, is that we are spending a lot of time on the existing pipe, operating, maintaining it, making sure it's okay, and then we're just going to trade one problem for another by building 2 giant shafts with it just didn't make much sense. Would it work hydraulically? Yes, but
you also suggested that you ruled out an alternative to go above ground too. That was probably ruled out pretty soon, I'm assuming.
We looked at multiple pipe materials and things you can maybe a double barrel or something going above ground, but above ground pipe is more, in my opinion, challenging. It has more issues. People take shots at it with their golf balls and things like that. Guns, and it's just more issue. And I don't know that that'd solve the problem. Plus, it splits Todd's property. I don't know how he would get up.
When do you anticipate having the Todd's property with the easement in there acquired?
We are waiting for appraisals right now, which we should have this week. He has an appraisal amount, so we're trying to come to middle ground. I was hoping to have that a couple of months ago, but he's not on the same time schedule we're on. he's been very, very nice. He's really good friends with Mike. He and Mike, do you guys go golfing together?
It's not really good friends with Mike, but yeah, that's a challenge, is getting
It's a
the right of
challenge.
way, and it's I think at this point a potential of affecting the schedule. So,
Do you have any suggestions or insights as to that issue that you might be able to share with us? With Todd?
Working with Todd?
Yeah.
I don't think so. He takes water, raw water out of the Alpine right now. That's something we'll have to address too, is are we going to still provide that at a new location?
Well,
yeah, I think the
Yeah, I think-
plan is to maintain that,
Yeah,
Really?
Mention that.
unless there's some other arrangement that the city.
Is that where it comes off?
right, yeah, so this is the new pipe line. Here's the, we call it the meter vault. And
Yeah.
Off of that pinkish line will be.
Okay.
Unless it's, there's something else that you guys want to do.
I haven't even thought about it.
I think Sam.
Yeah, and I worked with Sam, and I couldn't figure out why he wasn't returning my phone calls at the first of the year. Finally, he called me. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I'm over at American Fork City. You need to get hold of Taggart. Oh, okay. Good luck. Are there any questions? Reed has this presentation.
Yep.
I've got a hard copy you can have. Reed also has my contact info if you have any questions. We'll keep the city appraised as we keep moving down the path of design and into construction.
Essential's been very good on communicating with us, and then also your PR group is with Horrocks.
It's Horrocks.
Okay.
They're really good.
They've done a great job. I know they have had several open houses and other public meetings where they've only had a handful of people coming out, which is surprising to me. But they must feel confident in the process and what's occurring. And their street in front of their home is going to be a battle zone. And they're not going to be able to drive into their driveway during construction. You're going to have like shuttles? Is that what the plan is right now? Or?
Shuttles, we're looking at Cort. I got talking yesterday.
Give them all Fitbits.
We thought about golf carts. This work is going to happen. 90% of it will be between top back curb. Sidewalk should be okay. We're going to drive on the sidewalk. We're working through some of these as we get closer and closer to narrowing down what to do.
Well, they've done a great job coordinating. He mentioned that he's meeting with our city engineer tomorrow and our design group.
Yes, and I know that some of the water people will be there because there's some issues with water line.
Water and sewer's a big deal. Sewer's going to have to
be.
be relocated altogether. Probably have to do a pump bypass on the sewer to be able to build that line. They'll have to relocate the sewer line that goes down that road. So it's a very challenging project that they can do, but it's just going to require a lot of extra effort.
How long is that, is the construction project going to take for, like, the people that live on that street?
We have planned one construction season's mid-April to about mid-August, which means, the street will be impacted, but the construction may not be in front of your house the whole time or their homes, but it's going to be felt, it's going to be heard, and there's going to be dust.
You're
It's
planning to get
dangerous.
them the city's phone number so they can call, right?
I've got these guys.
I'm changing my number.
We are very concerned about it. We are doing our best brainstorming effort to figure out how to minimize any inconvenience. There's really no way around it other than getting in front of them now and not, when the track hole shows up.
You said it's going to be 4 months of
Well-
work in front of their homes?
That's to get
That's
down
pretty
the
quick.
entire street, but we're trying to limit it to around 2 weeks that we've got any one driveway blocked.
Uh-huh. Okay.
As that moves, and we're trying to keep it.
That sounds
contained.
much better.
Yeah, I should,
Okay.
one for the whole, from 1560 up to Todd's property.
Even 4 months seems pretty aggressive.
It is, especially this is specialized pipe that's going in through.
Yeah.
Part of this 200 feet, and it's not like it's normal pipe, but
It sounds to me like it's gonna be happening at the exact same time as or roughly the same time as what 1600 North is gonna be torn up, because that's moving a lot quicker than what most people are aware. I mean, I have two friends who live on that, and they both sold their houses now, so my understanding is that project's gonna probably start next year.
It'll be next year.
Yeah. That's two major cities torn up at the same time, the same region.
I wish we had as much room as 1600 North.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you've already looked at, hey, well, they've got it torn up, can't we just go up?
Fortunately, it's far enough away. I don't think there'll be a challenge having both of them happening at the same time. But people will notice it. There'll be a lot of heavy equipment, especially in this area. One thing that in particular they have to work with ASD on is safe school routes to ensure children can make it to school and back safely during the whole construction period. It's going to be an interesting, and I don't know where we are in that process, but
We've met with this, we have met with the school district, and we're continuing to meet with them. We've
Yeah.
also we're meeting with Waste Management on garbage
Oh,
and
yeah.
Postal Service.
Amazon.
Well, that was brought up.
That's probably even more important than postal service.
Yeah.
He'll be there more frequently. So we've had significant concerns on an unrelated project down at 4 South 4th West with our tank and the well and the booster station and so forth. And then we put in a new signal there at the same time as this project. We were hypersensitive to safety and children in school across the street, and we have daily. In fact, I have a meeting coming on at 8:30 to talk to ASD, and that's one of our issues we talk about every couple of weeks. And we have everyone has each other's cell numbers, including the principal Rock, that is that elementary school principal there. So with good communications and being forward thinking, I think we were able to prevent a lot of challenges from occurring, but we're erring on the side of safety, of course, on that project, and they will on this as well, I'm sure.
This one we're talking about 24/7. Somebody there,
Yeah,
because we were very worried about it. And that's something the citizens brought up, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Was safety. We can do it, and we can fence it and do all of that, but I don't know, I was a kid once here in Orem, and I played in those trenches as a kid. They were putting in sewers and stuff. So it's great, but this is going to be a big project. So I'm sorry I took too much time, didn't I?
no, that was good. It was excellent. Would anyone here like a copy of this presentation?
Yeah, I would.
Because we'll share that with everybody. A
Sure.
link?
I'll send. Yeah, I can send a link to.
Yeah.
It's big. It's 125 meg.
I made it a PDF and dropped it down to
Okay.
22.
I thought about that, but I have a bunch of notes on this PowerPoint, so. Okay.
Chris,
Yes.
I got to take off. I got a flight to catch. So
Oh,
I'll leave it
That's
in your
dedication
hands.
there.
Okay.
great.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions? Any other follow-up questions for Chris? Great. Thank you so much for your presentation. We do have treats over here, so before you go, we got a lot of treats. So be sure to pick up a couple of bear claws. So I'll turn the rest of the time over to you for, you'll probably look right back at me and say anything else.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
No, we don't have anything else. We will.
I did. Jim just barely left out, but as he walked in, he said, "Hey, your water smart portal that you have helped me figure out a leak that I had."
Okay.
But he didn't find out about it until he got the bill. The bill was high, and he said, "What in the world?" He logged in and was able to see exactly when the toilet got stuck open, and it ran and ran. And I told him, you can set up alerts, and he didn't know he could set up alerts to tell him before the bill came that he had a problem. But he was able to see exactly when it started, and then he says, you look at it now, and you can see that it stopped exactly when we fixed it too. So.
If you have a constant leak of 2 to 3, 4 gallons an hour, it adds up over the course of a month. And then you get that bill and you're shocked and you're like, well, what happened?
I believe I sent logins to everybody. If you don't remember getting that, let me know. We can get that to you. We are in the process of, we've mailed the first batch of letters out to the citizens. We've done 1,000, and just to see how the login process goes before we send a lot more out. But we're starting to roll that out and hope to have the entire city connected with that, with our Water Smart portal within the next couple of months.
How's that going so far? I mean, I know my experience. I found it really easy. I was able to sign up quickly, set up some alerts, and
yeah.
Now it's been boring because I'm going to go create a leak just so I can get an alert or something.
Yeah, it's been, we've talked with our 311 group, that's the ones that, the customer service group, and they haven't reported a huge increase in challenges logging in or anything like that. We will probably roll it out faster than we were planning on, because it appears to be going pretty well. And the feedback that we received from this group, the city council, and we chose a bunch of city employees that live in Orem to test it out for us as well. We think we've done our due diligence to ensure it is as easy as possible. So we don't anticipate anything, but we're still cautious at the beginning, because if there's something that goes wrong, it will inundate our 311 center.
So out of 25,000 accounts, we are aware of several leaks that are occurring throughout the system, and the vast majority, I would imagine, are probably found in the bathroom of somebody's home, in a toilet. It's simple gasket maybe needs to be replaced or cleaned, or there's something, a pebble in there blocking or not allowing it to seat or whatever. So we are working on a plan to reach out to people, but it's a large number. It's not a large quantity per se, but it all adds up, and we're kind of grappling with how to handle that now that we have that data and information that we didn't have in the past. So it's exciting. We're going to be able to help save a lot of water through this program.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to receive an email or a letter or whatever that says, "Hey, we think you have a leak."
You should, yeah. So that if you set up your notification on there, you can. That can be a part of that.
We don't send letters out to if it's a huge amount of water, then we'll let them know. But if it's a toilet valve, we probably won't pay attention to that, except through this new tool that we've provided.
Yeah, I mean, this tool is pretty nice. I mean, if my water bill's a little higher than I suspect it to be, or if something happens, I mean, that's probably the thing that I'm most scared of, because it's happened before where, hey, something happens and I don't find out about it until I get the bill. I'd love to identify the problem early.
And that might require you to just get on your system to see and observe. If you have a leak that's occurring, like at night, then check the last few days and see if you have a baseline flow occurring. If you do have like a 2, 3, 4 gallon an hour flow, you know that you have some kind of a small leak somewhere. And it's you're not going to see it like dripping out of your pipes or anything necessarily, but where it probably is in your toilet. And there's just a constant flow. And if you can't hear it, because it's kind of hard to hear, but you can also put some dye in your tank, and if it comes through into the toilet bowl, you know that it's leaking. After it seats, supposedly seats. So.
Yeah, the Water Smart program will actually show you on the graph. We think that you've got a 6 gallon per hour leak, and it'll be different color than what your typical use is.
So that's something that we do need to provide some more information and general tips and feedback for the public, and we're working on that actively right now. Yeah.
Should also report that the City Council, we've submitted fees and charges, and with the capital facility plan presentation that we gave it for the wastewater treatment plant, it's a $160 million plan over the next 20 years. The residents will most likely see an increase in the base rate for that, and slight increases in the water usage rates and base rate there as well. So have they approved the tentative budget yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so the tentative budget has been approved and is being reviewed by the public right now, but it does include rate increases to pay for the expensive projects that we have to do at the wastewater treatment plant, and continue to invest in our water system and collection lines.
Final budget approval is the second Tuesday in June. So if you have any concerns, you can talk to us or come to that meeting. But it will all be there at that meeting. So we have among the cheapest sewer base rate in the county, probably. Ours is it 12?
It's $12.48 right now.
$12.48, and that's going to go up $4.50 a month. There are some base rates in the county that are over $50 a month, just for the base rate, not charged for any of the sewer production that's generated. So we've done, I think, a pretty good job prospectively looking forward with some nutrient removal advancements and equipment and so forth down at the plant that helps us to remove that over the last 12 to 15 years. Now we're at another level of treatment that will require us some additional capital investment there. And so water reuse is a part of that, and a tertiary treatment process is a part of that we're currently funded and underway. That's all we have for today. Are there any other questions or comments?
Is there what's the meeting schedule upcoming?
Let's see. Generally, summertime is it's kind of hit and miss because there's a lot of people going on vacations with families and so forth. So what would be your preference here in terms of a schedule for the next 3 months? Do we want to target one of those months or 2 of them? Should we have a meeting in June or one in July or August? August, you have school starting as well. That's challenging for those with younger kids, but we can do whatever you like.
Seems to me like July gets very full very fast.
Okay.
We've got at least 2 holidays in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd say let's shoot for June.
Shoot for June. Okay. And so doing, that would be June 11th or 18th.
I would not be available the 11th.
Okay.
The 18th I would be available.
Would the 18th work? Oh, I'd be gone on the 11th as well, actually. How does the 18th sound of June? Okay, we'll target that, and then same time, and we'll send you the minutes and an agenda for that meeting.
Sounds good. In that case, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'm just not familiar with it.
Anybody opposed? Great, we're adjourned.
Thank you.